Hello, and thank you for watching the last video where we discussed the nominations. Today, what I want to discuss with you is one of the most critical aspects of game day performance, and that is your warm-up. The purpose of warming up on game day is to increase your internal body temperature. It's also to acclimate your connective tissue, your joints, your bones, your muscles to loading. And perhaps most importantly, it's to prepare your central nervous system for the heavier weights that are to come. So simply stated, the purpose of a warm-up is to enhance your performance and prevent injury. Some of you might argue that you want to warm up exactly on game day as the same way that you do in training, and I would discourage you from getting married to any single warm-up approach, and here's why. I think we can all agree that a training day does not equal game day. In fact, they are quite different. A training day, you have your own cultivated atmosphere, a familiar environment. The schedule is to your liking. You're likely lifting on the rack that you're used to, and your support crew or training partners are around you. And game day is quite different. You're at a foreign venue. You're on someone else's clock, most importantly, on their schedule, using their equipment. And so nothing that you do on game day other than the weights that you take is really by choice. It is all mandated by the people running the competition. And so likewise, the opener that you take in a competition may not necessarily be the heavy single that you're used to warming up to in training day if in fact you use that type of training approach. So one of the things that we'll do on our game planning and strategy call, amongst others, is obviously configuring your attempts. But then once we have your attempts dialed in and importantly your opener, we will then determine your last warm-up. And that is the most critical of all the warm-ups. Look, every single set that you take in the warm-up room is a rehearsal. It is an audition for you to prove to the coaching staff that we can then select and put the next load on the bar. Likewise for us, it's a diagnostic tool for us to determine if you're ready for the next load. So once we arrive at your attempts on the strategy call, we will determine your last warm-up. And the last warm-up is probably going to be somewhere around 7 to 8% below your opener. For the squat and the deadlift, that's usually, in my many years of experience, right around 83-ish%. And in the bench press, it's about 85%. And look, those aren't hard and fast rules. They are just guidelines. They're just ballparks to kind of get us in the neighborhood. So we want to determine your last warm-up so that you're comfortable jumping from that number to your opener. And you don't want your last warm-up to be so light that you're taking this gigantic jump to your opener, and then when you walk out on the platform, you're shocked or jolted by the weight. It's almost like jumping into a pool of freezing cold water. Your body is really shocked and surprised. Or alternatively, you don't want to warm up so heavy that the jump is then small and you're using up all this gas in your tank in the warm-up room before you get to your opener. You don't want to fall into traps. Nobody cares how you're warming up other than the coaching staff to enhance your performance. So you don't want to be known as the king or the queen of the warm-up room. You want to employ a warm-up strategy that adequately gets you prepared so that you can perform at your best. So as I said, once we arrive at your last warm-up, we will then count backward to the bar so that your progressions are logical and incremental and make sense, and they're not uneven. Oftentimes when you start at the bar and then try to just piece your warm-ups together, they become clunky. Also, one of the key things to remember on game day is that we will start early, specifically during the squat, because at that particular time, if we start early, we can always slow down if we need to, but if we start late and then we have to rush, that creates a lot of anxiety and stress and induces fatigue upon you, the lifter. In the bench press and the deadlift, will actually be in the flow of the competition and will be on the IPF's time clock naturally, so we'll have to warm up according to that schedule. One final thing that I want to note is that your last 3 warm-ups in each discipline, we will likely try to adhere to the schedule of the flights. And what I mean by that is if you're put in an 8-person flight, which is likely to be the case because most of you will be in these A group primetime sessions at the European Championships and then also at the World Championships, That is to say, we're going to use a similar pacing and spacing on those last 3 warm-ups so that you're going to get the pacing and feel of almost an identical schedule to what you're going to experience on the platform. We don't want to warm up and take a warm up every 2 minutes when you're going to get about a 7 to 8 minute break on the platform. And likewise, we don't want to space your warm ups out one every 15 minutes so that when you get out on the warm up platform, or I should say on the competition platform, it feels like you're running a track meet. So anyway, all this will be determined on our strategy calls, and we're going to find a warm-up schedule that works best for you to enhance your performance on game day. So I appreciate you watching, and do stay tuned for the next video.